Great. Ankit, can you tell me who are the participants here?
Sir, participants are all the faculty members from the engineering institution Ramrao Adig Institute of Technology,
Okay,
deemed to be university, DY Patil deemed to be university.
okay.
There will be our course co-coordinator Dr. Nilima Dongre madam and all learned faculty from the same institution, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm highly thankful to Professor Atik, the director of UGC MMTTC at SGBAU. I'm also thankful to Ankit and all the team at the MMTTC in the university at Amravati. And Today, I'm going to talk to you about holistic and multidisciplinary education. It's even more interesting that I have come to know that a lot of you are from an engineering college. I myself did my MPhil and PhD in social sciences in a multidisciplinary institute in Bombay called the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, which also has a campus in Tuljapur in Maharashtra. And This was a truly multidisciplinary setting when I was doing my PhD. And we had an integrated class of PhD scholars. The practice has now been unfortunately discontinued, and this is pre NEP. And this was a class of research scholars from across disciplines, from health sciences, from media studies, from social work, and I'll tell you, some of our best learnings have been in the coursework of that integrated PhD program at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, which was a multidisciplinary program, and it focused on different disciplines bringing together their knowledge, epistemologies, and skill sets. And it left all of us better equipped to deal with our faculty interviews, to deal with our research, and to deal with a more interdisciplinary frame to conduct our research. So, today, in this NEP orientation and sensitization program, I'm going to talk about holistic and multidisciplinary education. I have mentioned my email ID and my contact details. In fact, currently I'm based in an interdisciplinary area studies center in University of Kashmir called the Institute of Kashmir Studies. And we have faculty members from various disciplines, including sociology, social work, anthropology, in the institute. And we have also started offering an MA anthropology program. We were, in a way, one of the first to implement the NEP guidelines on multidisciplinary education. We have people from a media background, from an anthropology background, from a social work background, teaching in the MS Social Anthropology program. I'm also associated with a center in our university, which is called the Design Your Degree program, which is a very ambitious project under NEP, wherein a lot of engineering, mostly engineering students come in, and they are given a choice of also taking up subjects related to social sciences, management, and other disciplines in the first 3 semesters of the 4 year program. It's modeled on the Design Your Degree program offered by the CIC in Delhi University. In fact, you should have a look at that CIC center in Delhi University. We're slightly different to the way they work, but I've really enjoyed teaching those engineering students in the Design Your Degree program. So, uh, for the presentation today, I have divided the presentation into various sections. The first starts with key terms and concepts. Then I go to the way multidisciplinarity and holistic education has been conceptualized and envisioned in NEP to the 2020 document. Then we'll talk a bit about implementation, and from there we move on to challenges and issues and future directions. Ankit, is everyone here comfortable with the use of English, or should I also use English with Hindi? Okay. What I'll do is I'll can I use Hindi in between, or is English okay? Anyways, um,
Both will do, sir.
both will do.
We are,
Thank you.
yes, yes, we are okay with English as
Okay,
well as
okay,
in between if you
okay,
can
okay. I'll
recommend
try to
in.
bring
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Hindi. Thank you. And so, what are the key terms and concepts we are engaging with here? So, the idea of what is being disciplinary. From disciplinary, we move on to multidisciplinary. From multidisciplinary to participatory. From participatory to interdisciplinary. And then we also use the word transdisciplinary. Sometimes all these words, except for disciplinary, are used interchangeably. So you will have people referring to multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, in a sort of a way that it means the same thing. Let me clarify that it does not mean the same thing, even though in everyday usage we sort of use these terms interchangeably. So let's start with this idea of discipline or disciplinary. That is something we easily understand. That is something we are based in. um, so the way in which we our departments operate is in a very rigid, silo-based, boundary-based, disciplinary way. So, for example, some of you may be based in computer sciences in your university, civil engineering, or botany, zoology. So these are disciplines which have emerged over a period of time, have their own boundaries, have had rigid methodologies in which they deal with their research areas, have their own epistemologies. So I mentioned that they've emerged at some point of time, and today they appear as if they're countries with borders. So you will not have a botany professor going to take coursework in a zoology department or vice versa. Or similarly, you will not have someone from English going and taking classes in Sanskrit and vice versa. So that's the idea of a discipline. You have a department in a university or a college, let's say Department of English, and within that you have people who have done their masters and PhD in English, and are taking PG classes and PhD scholars in that discipline. They use particular types of methodologies which are widely accepted within that discipline. So, for example, content analysis, textual analysis would be something which a lot of people in English would do, but they would not be comfortable with, let's say, a lot of quantitative research or qualitative research designs. Similarly, I'm not, anti-English or something of that sort. I'm just giving it as an example. Then we move on to multidisciplinary. So, what is multidisciplinary? So, there are multiple disciplines, and multiple disciplines work under one thematic umbrella. So, for example, you have an earthquake, and there are people who are from the Department of Social Work, Department of Sociology. There are people who can be from Department of Geography, Geology. All of them will be studying the earthquake through their own disciplinary frameworks. They would have one thematic area which they would want to study, but multiple disciplines would be studying that thematic area, and there would be some conversations in the team or in the joint effort. Then we move on to something called participatory, not used a lot here, but I would still mention that there is still knowledge exchange, but this knowledge exchange happens without integration. So, for example, they're working in an earthquake area or a disaster area, they would sit in meetings and discuss in a participatory way whatever they have understood from the reality they're studying. Then we move on to something called interdisciplinary, where we start crossing boundaries. And within the interdisciplinary framework, there can be people from various disciplines who come in. They do not use disciplinary, theoretical, and conceptual frameworks to study a particular thematic area. So it would be across disciplines. So people who come in from geology would also be able to do become a part of qualitative research projects. People who come from social work would also have a say in the way in which the physical environment is studied. Then we move on to something called transdisciplinary. Within transdisciplinary, we cross disciplinary and sectoral boundaries. And then there is common goal setting, and we develop integrated knowledge for science and society. So the idea is that people across science, social science, humanities would work together and would develop knowledge which would not be limited to that one particular discipline. So the NEP document particularly uses the word multidisciplinary. So that is what we are going to focus on. Okay. So what we'll do is, as I mentioned earlier in the contents page, that we are going to engage in depth with the text of the NEP document. I have realized that a lot of us do not actually engage with the text of this document. So in a few slides, I have tried to sum up this text. So when NEP 2020 comes in, clearly, among other areas, there is a focus on holistic, multidisciplinary, and flexible education. I will start with this idea of flexibility because then it leads to the way in which NEP conceptualizes multidisciplinarity. So the idea that learners will have the ability to choose their own learning trajectories and programs, and they will thereby choose their own paths according to their talents and interests. In addition to this, the NEP document also talked about the idea that there should be no hard separations between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams, etc. The idea was to eliminate or do away with hierarchies and silos between different areas of learning. And from there on, the idea that there has to be promotion of multidisciplinarity and a holistic education across sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports for a multidisciplinary world in order to ensure the unity and integrity of all knowledge. Okay. So when it starts conceptualizing this idea of multidisciplinarity, the NEP document celebrates India's philosophical traditions. The idea that is it that we had a very complex and a very celebrated form of multidisciplinarity in practice in India. And in between, I think, as the document states, that we moved on to a focus on particular disciplines. The idea is to bring that back, a focus on a multidisciplinarity as envisaged through India's philosophical traditions. So I will read a bit of that, that the pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, and truth was always considered in Indian thought and philosophy as the highest human goal. And from therein, the idea that education is not just for getting a job or for acquisition of knowledge, but it is for complete realization and liberation of the self. The document then also gives examples of various institutions of higher learning, celebrated institutions of higher learning in India, including Nalanda, Takshila, Vikramshila, Vallabhi. The idea that at a particular time in history, these institutions set very high standards of teaching and research and hosted scholars and students from across backgrounds and regions. The document also goes on to celebrate the great philosophers India has produced, Aryabhatta, Chanakya, Madhava, Panini, Nagarjuna, and others. And it also then explains that all of them have made seminal contributions to world knowledge in diverse fields: mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, medical science, surgery, engineering, architecture, shipbuilding and navigation, yoga, fine arts, chess at the time. So the idea that you pick up an Indian philosopher, you will not just read about his or her specialization in a particular area, there would always be more than two or three. So a lot of philosophers who would talk about philosophy would also be experts in logic, would also be experts in mathematics, would also be experts in metallurgy, and would also be experts in what we today refer to as liberal arts and grammar. So the document points us towards this rich legacy and talks about the need to give importance to this in our present systems of pedagogy and practice in higher education. In fact, the document mentions that in various educational settings in India, the idea was that you have to have knowledge of many arts, not just one art. So in Banabhatta's Kadambari, good knowledge is associated with 64 arts, including singing, painting, chemistry, mathematics, vocational fields, engineering, discussion, and debate. So the very idea that all branches of creative human behavior should be considered arts, as the document explains, has distinctly Indian origins. And it is this idea that we have to reintroduce this knowledge of many arts or liberal arts back to Indian education, as it is, in fact, a need of the present century. And then the idea is this is the conceptualization from the historical traditions, giving it a philosophical base. And then we move on to how multidisciplinarity is explained for the contemporary settings. The idea that humanities and arts have to be integrated with education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, so that the hierarchies we have are broken between disciplines and knowledge domains. And also the idea that such multidisciplinarity will give us better worldviews, will give us more holistic approaches to deal with the problems of the 21st century and of the future. And what is it that multidisciplinarity promotes? It promotes positive learning outcomes, including increased creativity and innovation, problem-solving abilities, teamwork, communication skills, more in-depth learning and mastery of curricula across fields, increases in social and moral awareness, and general engagement and enjoyment of learning. At the same time, multidisciplinary approaches are also helpful for research, and the can lead towards improved and enhanced research. And as the document states in paragraph 11.3, the multidisciplinary education imagined for India's higher education today is imagined in a way that it aims to develop all capacities of human beings: intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integrated manner. And the idea that the positioning of multidisciplinarity and holistic education in the NEP document, it refers to the challenges of 21st century again and again, and the idea that how multidisciplinarity is a response to such challenges and towards making a more empowered society. So the idea is that through our multidisciplinary education, we will be able to help creation of well-rounded individuals that possess critical capacities in fields across arts, humanities, languages, sciences, social sciences, and professional, technical, and vocational fields. There is also within this imagining a foregrounding of an ethic of social engagement, soft skills such as communication, discussion, and debate, and rigorous specialization in a chosen field or fields. And the policy clearly mentions that such a multidisciplinary approach will be in the near future followed in all undergraduate programs, including those in professional, technical, and vocational disciplines. And then it goes on to mention in paragraph 11.4 that even premier engineering institutions such as IITs will move towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education with more arts and humanities and students of arts. And at the same time, students who are in premier institutions of arts and humanities will aim to learn more science and will make an effort to incorporate more vocational and soft skills. This would be a part of the curriculum design, and the idea is that all these courses will have imaginative and flexible curricular structures which enable creative combinations of disciplines for study and would offer multiple entry and exit points, removing rigid boundaries and creating new possibilities for lifelong learning. Towards the later part of the presentation, when I'll talk about implementation, I will be talking about MEES, which is the multiple entry and exit scheme. I would also talk about the NAT DigiLocker framework and associated to it, the way in which student mobility has been conceptualized through MEES and multidisciplinary education and student mobility through academic bank of credits. And then going from undergraduate to graduate, master's, and doctoral education in large multidisciplinary universities, this multidisciplinary education will provide rigorous research-based specialization and would also provide opportunities for multidisciplinary work, including in academia, government, and industry. And I come to this pathway, which is very interesting, the idea of large multidisciplinary universities. The way this policy has been conceptualized and is being implemented, all universities and higher educational institutions will have to become or will become multidisciplinary universities and colleges, and will facilitate high quality, holistic, and multidisciplinary education. It is also a given in this policy that there has to be flexibility in curriculum and novel and engaging course options for students. So, for example, there would be possibilities that a student would be specializing in computer sciences, but at the same time, from the liberal arts department, he or she will also take up a course on digital humanities or sociology or social policy. And this will be encouraged as the policy starts by increased faculty and institutional autonomy in setting curricula. In fact, when we go towards the discussion, I would also like to hear from you how you have introduced multidisciplinarity in your own curricula. I'll also share my own experience. And the idea that going to the Indian knowledge systems and Indian philosophical systems, the teaching learning process will have to have an increased emphasis on communication, discussion, debate, research, and opportunities for cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary thinking. So let's say if you're based in an engineering college and as you start NEP implementation, there would be departments like languages, music, philosophy, Indology, theater, education, statistics, applied sciences, sociology, economics, which would come up in your own educational institution, because all higher education institutions will have a pathway where they will have to go towards either becoming multidisciplinary institutions or collaborating with other institutions to become a multidisciplinary cluster. These subjects or course titles which would be introduced in these programs will be credited. They will not be audited courses which will not be mentioned in transcripts, but they would be credited. So, towards the attainment of such, now so I've talked about the conceptualization. Now we are moving towards the pathways which have been provided. So towards the attainment of such holistic and multidisciplinary education, so it starts from curricula. The higher educational institutions will make multidisciplinary curricula, and which would also reflect, in addition to knowledge of various disciplines, community engagement and service, environmental education, and value-based education. So this environmental education component, which is compulsory in our university now under the four-year undergraduate program, will include areas like climate change, pollution, waste management, sanitation, conservation of biological diversity, management of biological resources and biodiversity, forest and wildlife conservation, and sustainable development in living. Sorry. So you can already understand that a person, a student who is enrolled in, let's say, a civil engineering program, maybe your college offers a civil engineering program, the education in environmental education, particularly climate change, biodiversity, wildlife conservation, and sustainable development, will make his future career better and more sensitive to social demands and national demands. This is particularly true for a region like ours. So I am based in Srinagar in Kashmir. In the last 2 years, we have had 50% deficit of snowfall and rainfall. This winter, we have hardly had any snow. So civil engineers and architects who come out of engineering colleges have to be sensitive to such realities. And the way tomorrow they will implement their knowledge of civil engineering and architecture, they have to be aware of the biological issues, biodiversity, so that our ecosystems are not damaged beyond repair, which already seems to be the case. Then there is also a component of value education. This is also something which is implemented in our university, and I'm sure is being implemented in your college, your higher education institution, your university. The focus on value-based education includes a focus on development of humanistic, ethical values. It provides an overview of constitutional knowledge and universal human values, and also introduces us to values which are related to righteous conduct, peace, non-violence. At the same time, this value-based education will promote scientific temper, citizenship values, and also life skills. At the same time, it would also promote participation in community service programs, which will again be credited. At the same time, this policy is aware of the idea that our world is increasingly globalized and interconnected, and that our education today has to take into account the contemporary global challenges, which have to be taken into account while designing curricula and inside our classrooms. So that students become aware of global issues and become active promoters of more peaceful, inclusive, secure, and sustainable societies. Also, as part of this value education thrust, and I'm sure this is already being practiced in your college now, the higher education institutions have to promote internships with local industry, businesses, craft communities, etc., as well as research internships with faculty and researchers at their own or other higher educational institutions, so that along with multidisciplinarity and flexibility, there is a component which is practical, which will also, all these three things together, flexibility, multidisciplinarity, and the practical side of learning, will promote employability. Give me a second, I have to take a phone call. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let us have a brief recap of what we have understood till now. We started with definition, a basic definition of what is disciplinary and multidisciplinary. Within that, we also touched briefly what is interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary. And from there onwards, we went to the NEP policy and tried to understand how the NEP policy document tries to explain or define multidisciplinarity. As part of that definitional work, the NEP policy goes to India's civilizational past, gives examples of India's celebrated philosophers and philosophical traditions, and the university set up in India, and explains to us that this education, which was imparted in these celebrated institutions, was multidisciplinary, and that Indian systems, Indian philosophical systems, have always prized multidisciplinary education, knowledge of many arts. Uh, then, from there on, this definition is operationalized in the current context, wherein the idea is that multidisciplinary education is the need of our, because it is number one associated to employability concerns. It's also associated to holistic development. It is also associated to formation of informed worldviews, to making of an empowered citizenry. From there, it goes on to establish pathways for this multidisciplinarity. And then it explains to us that all higher educational institutions will become will become multidisciplinary higher education institutions. And so they will not be limited to one specialization. Students who are engaged in a particular discipline will also have to take up courses from other disciplines. In addition to those courses, multidisciplinary courses, they will also have to take up value addition courses, skill courses, and we would also have to make flexible curricula. We also understood that a digital infrastructure has been put in place. We made a reference to NAT DigiLocker, multiple entry and exit scheme, and from there on, academic bank of credits. From there, now, after talking briefly about how multidisciplinary will become a part of our curriculum, I go on towards how this NEP policy conceptualizes undergraduate and postgraduate education. So the structure is also changed from an earlier. So if a student went to a college earlier and did a degree like BSc or BA, he or she had to complete a 3-year program, and people who went to BTech would do 4-year programs. So now, this NEP policy gives students a choice between both 3-year bachelor's and 4-year bachelor's for the normal BA and BSc programs. And the 4-year bachelor's program is now called the 4-year undergraduate program, FIUGP. It has already been started in many universities across India. So under multiple entry and exit options, a student who completes 1 year, 2 semesters will be awarded a certificate. For after 2 years, a diploma. After 3 years, a 3 years bachelor's degree. A student who is completing a 3-year bachelor's will have to go towards a 2-year master's. And for a student who completes 4-year bachelor's degree, he or she will go towards a 1-year master's program or a direct PhD program. At the same time, the focus on this 4-year undergraduate program is on research in the last year. And there is also a possibility that a student has a major in one discipline and a minor in another, or a double major. He has a major, let's say, in sociology and philosophy, But the transcript he or she will get will also reflect the multidisciplinary courses that student has undertaken. At the same time, I've also discussed this briefly, the idea of academic bank of credits, where all students today are required to have ABC IDs. And this is part of the digital infrastructure push in higher education, where academic bank of credit IDs will enable students to take up courses in other higher education institutions. So, one is the idea of multidisciplinarity in your own institution. Another is the idea that your student will be able to take, let's say you're in Amravati, a student will be able to take another course in a neighboring higher education institution. And when the student finally gets the degree from your college or university, uh, he will also redeem the credits he has received from another university, and this will be reflected in the transcript, which will be issued from your host university. A lot of this is today being made possible at the primary at the starting level through the SWAYAM MOOCs, wherein students, I'm sure all of you have already had a look at the SWAYAM MOOCs, UGC SWAYAM MOOCs, wherein massive online courses, wherein massive open online courses, wherein students today can take up accredited online courses on the UGC SWAYAM platform. And then these have to become a part of the transcript, which is issued by your university. Okay, from there onwards, I've already mentioned this that as part of the higher education pathway, a student who takes up the 3-year bachelor's program goes towards a 2-year master's program, and a student who takes up a 4-year bachelor program with research can do masters of 1 year or can go towards a PhD program, provided he or she meets the criteria which relates to the GPA scores of that student. And also the MPhil has been discontinued under this new program. I also mentioned this in the pathways which have been mentioned earlier, that all educational institutions, higher education institutions, will have to become multidisciplinary or will have to associate with other institutions to become multidisciplinary clusters. Public universities are on path to become MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research universities, and the idea that they will attain the highest global standards in quality education. Then the idea that these higher education institutions, which are multidisciplinary, will focus on multidisciplinary research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of research, greater industry academic linkages, and interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social science research. So all these things, from startup to the interdisciplinary research centers, have a multidisciplinary tinge, have a multidisciplinarity associated to them. Talking about the challenges which the world has faced, particularly in the context of COVID, the policy also envisages that such multidisciplinary institutions will be at the forefront of technology development in India. So, there would also be a lot of funding for collaborative projects, as has happened in the last ANRF call, wherein multidisciplinary teams have been given large grants to conduct research on key areas across various disciplines. Okay. So the idea, and I would repeat it again, of this policy is, and it is quoting from the policy itself, the main thrust of this policy regarding higher education is to end the fragmentation of higher education by transforming higher education institutions into large interdisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher education clusters, knowledge hubs. So there would be a movement towards large multidisciplinary universities and higher education institution clusters. And it says it's the highest recommendation of this policy regarding the structure of higher education. The policy also envisages, sets itself a target that by 2040, all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions. And it also imagines that by 2030, at least one large multidisciplinary higher education institution should be there in or near every district. The policy also states that single stream higher education institutions will be phased out, and the institutions will have to move towards becoming vibrant multidisciplinary institutions or parts of vibrant multidisciplinary higher education institution clusters in order to enable and encourage high quality multidisciplinary and cross disciplinary teaching and research across fields. So before I go forward, let me recap what we have done till now. Number one, we started with the definitions of disciplinary education and multidisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Then we went to the NEP policy and tried to understand how NEP defines multidisciplinarity. From there on, we understood what are the pathways which this policy creates for implementation of this model of multidisciplinary education. So this relates to development of curricula. It also changes the course structure of the degrees across higher education institutions in India. So it's a transformation, curricular transformation, but also design transformation, the design of the degrees, and at the same time, pedagogic transformations. So now we move towards the implementation part. What has already been done related to this promotion, this idea of promotion of multidisciplinary education? So within this new undergraduate degree format, we have major and minor courses which relate to two disciplines. So for example, a student may have a major in anthropology and a minor in zoology and vice versa. In addition to that, the student will have to take up at least two languages. At least that's what we are doing here. And then the student will also have to, in the first 3 semesters, will also have to have multidisciplinary introductory courses. So, for example, a student has taken up anthropology as a major, zoology as a minor, then the student will maybe take a multidisciplinary introductory course from botany, biochemistry, or some other discipline. The student will also have to take up value added courses. In our university, the value added courses which are being offered right now, this is more or less common across various universities, as health and wellness, digital well-being, environmental education, understanding India. So all the students have to take up this course on understanding India, which introduces them to key developments in India's history and politics, and introduces them to rights and duties. Then there are skill enhancement courses which all the students have to take up. Then there are ability enhancement courses which all the students have to take up. So this is in addition to the major minor um, disciplines which the students take up in the first 3 semesters. After the first 3 semesters, they go towards development of specialization in their major subjects. As part of this implementation, universities across India for the last 2 or 3 years have been very busy with development of curriculums. So a lot of effort has gone into development of syllabi across universities in India, which related to these courses which are mentioned here, but also the changes in the curriculum which have been promoted by the policy, wherein you need to have a more practical hands-on approach rather than a focus on bookish knowledge. I will discuss this in conversation with you because I also want to understand what you have done related to the syllabus implementation. Then I mentioned this earlier that to make this multidisciplinary education a possibility, there is digital infrastructure which has been set up. This digital infrastructure primarily revolves around the NAT DigiLocker ecosystem. So all of you already have NAT DigiLocker apps wherein you have your licenses, your Aadhaar cards, and as per various regulations, these are considered on par with your printed original documents. The same is on DigiLocker. The same is a part of the same has taken place with mark sheets, awards, and degrees on NAT DigiLocker, National Academic Depository on DigiLocker. So when I checked last, there were more than 100 crore records which have been uploaded on DigiLocker. So a student will have his or her mark sheets from school education onwards, 10th, 12th, graduation, post graduation. Every mark sheet would be on DigiLocker, and every degree would be on DigiLocker. And then all the credits which the student has taken up from his university or from another university would be mapped to his or her academic bank of credits account, which is also associated with DigiLocker. And so this makes it is creation of this digital infrastructure which gives students the flexibility to take up courses not just from their own institutions but also from other institutions and from the Swayam MOOC platform. At the same time, to promote this flexibility and multidisciplinary education, the student has been given various exit options under the multiple entry and exit scheme, which I already explained earlier. The student may do 1 year and then decide to take a break, get a certificate, or complete 1 year in a particular university and go in the second year to another university. A lot of this is being worked out, but the digital infrastructure for this has been put into place. Okay, so the idea that multidisciplinary education, holistic education looks very good on paper. And some of the key developments which have taken place um, are appreciable. For a country of the size of India, this is no less than a momentous achievement. Uh, the idea is good. The implementation stage has started, but there are also various issues which people are dealing with. So, from my conversations with my friends who are teaching in various colleges, what has happened is that they are having to teach more because now, in addition to their core courses, they also have to offer multidisciplinary courses, major, minor, multidisciplinary, value added courses. The policy says that there would be more staff, more teachers in colleges. It is taking time, and we are hopeful that that happens soon. But in addition to that, the idea is that it is very difficult to break disciplinary boundaries. And this is something we have been socialized into in higher education, and we do not appreciate each other's disciplinary understanding. We do not want people to go beyond these old boundaries. I've experienced this firsthand because I'm in a multidisciplinary center in the university. A lot of times people come to us and tell us, "What are you doing?" This is not something which would work in our discipline. At the same time, bureaucratic hurdles are there. So, for example, there is a student who has done political science, or there is a student who has done masters in computer engineering, and he wants to do PhD in a department of media studies, mass comm. That is that is theoretically possible, but it doesn't have acceptance in the department. So change is slow. Hopefully, it will take some time, and after some time, we will be able to see such multidisciplinary approaches. Many state and central government higher education institutions also face a resource crunch. wherein they are not able to they have a dearth of resources, including computers, access to digital systems, quality literature. So that again is a big roadblock. At the same time, there are many digital literacy gaps. So I've mentioned the digital infrastructure which has been put in to make student flexibility a possibility, to make multidisciplinary education, to promote multidisciplinary education. But a lot of digital literacy gaps are seen not just among students, but also in teachers. Then there are also limited avenues for collaboration and research, even though the latest round of Anusandhan National Research Foundation had a call for large multidisciplinary projects. But still, there are limited avenues for collaboration and research, particularly in a country the size of India. So, this focus on multidisciplinary education, multidisciplinary research is to be supplemented with increase in funding for such collaborative projects and for creation of such infrastructure. What are some of the future directions? So linkages is the buzzword there. So for this multidisciplinary education to work, there has to be a linkage with society and industry, but also with school education. So what do I mean by linkages with society and industry? So for example, there's a student of computer sciences who also is doing a multidisciplinary course, for example, say on sociology. So he has to have an interface with society and industry. Industry in the form of internship, but society maybe in the form of a project wherein he or she tries to understand the spread of misinformation and how misinformation is affecting people's perception of the world they're in, or let's say the idea of online scams. So the idea that a person who has a specialization in computer engineering and then has some education from sociology would be able to understand the effect these online scams have on people in a better way, and would also be able to evolve solutions to these problems. Imagine if he has also done a course on communications. In that way, his approach towards this problem would be very different to compared to only a disciplinary approach. Then, why do I mention linkages with school education? And there is a lot of multidisciplinary push on school education too. But the way our school education is structured, particularly from 10th onwards, there is a lot of focus on qualifying various exams, entrance exams, on particular scores, on percentages. That focus on percentages and scores works against the ethic of multidisciplinary education. The second thing is there has to be active collaboration. So let us start this collaboration from the higher education institution we are working in. The idea that, let's say, you are working in a particular department in your college or university, there should be platforms which promote collaboration between various faculty members within that university or college, and then between various colleges and universities in the same area. Then moving on from there with regional institutions, and then with higher education institutions which operate at the national level. So there are multiple sets of collaborations which have to be incentivized for multidisciplinarity to pick up in both imparting of degrees education and in research. And at the same time, I think we'll have to go towards collaborations with global higher education institutions, which have a rich experience of operating and offering multidisciplinary programs. From therein, what are the various forms of such collaboration which can be made possible? So the idea is that there could be joint programs. So, for example, two higher education institutions in Maharashtra, one specializing in computer engineering and one specializing on digital humanities, can offer a joint program on computer sciences and digital humanities. This can be done locally, this can be done regionally, this can be done at the national level also. Now, some universities are experimenting with it at the international level. So I know TIS has an international collaboration wherein joint MA degrees with international institutions are being offered. Then from there on, if this is not possible, working on the ABC logic, academic bank of credit logic, we could have exchange programs where a student from your university or college could go to another university or college, and then the credits gained there will become a part of the transcript he gains from your university. At the same time, in research, there could be a lot of collaborative research in collaboration within the institute, collaboration between the institutions, and collaboration which will work for joint research projects. For example, a PI can be from one department in your university and co-PIs from other departments, or PI can be from one university and co-PI from another university. And this can also be then reflected in the publications which are published. So I think we have covered a lot of ground here, and I would love to have some discussion. I would also love to see some faces if you're not traveling by car, or if you are not in a meeting, or if you can switch on your cameras, I think we could, or maybe your mics, maybe we could have some questions to which I could respond, or some clarifications. Okay, there is a question that how can we integrate vocational multidisciplinary courses into computer science syllabus without overloading the credits? Yes, so the idea is there are two possibilities. One is that you identify the core courses which the student has to take from computer sciences. Number two, a lot of electives are offered, and within the electives, this choice can be given of taking up some courses. For example, I think for computer sciences, courses on misinformation, disinformation, courses on know your society, critical thinking, on project management, which I think is already a part of the engineering programs, or the constitution or understanding India could be offered to the students, and that is, I think, a possibility which can be done immediately. But at a larger level, if let's say the curricula does not permit it, maybe you could hold workshops which would sensitize students towards these disciplines and these disciplinary understandings. There could always be, even without changing the syllabus, some guest lectures which could be organized. The libraries could host books from other disciplines. That I think makes it possible immediately. But at a larger level, your course curricula, even within core technical courses, can also have a unit or a subunit on different disciplinary understandings of the concepts you are trying to engage with. For example, for computer sciences, from anthropology and sociology, I can already think about actor network theory, about cyborg anthropology, which talk about how things, software, hardware, also have some agency and can change human behavior and can change societies. I think you will have to look at various ways. One is without making change in the curricula, you're already teaching by having workshops and guest lectures. Number two, by making changes in the curricula and offering elective courses. And number three, by doing a change in the curricula of the courses itself, where you have a unit or a subunit or a practical component on another discipline or another disciplinary understanding. You could also share a course with another teacher. I think that has worked wonders for some of the courses I'm teaching, particularly in the Design Your Degree program, where I take up a course on critical thinking. And so we are a group of teachers. We are undertaking this course. So we are people from social sciences, computer sciences, environmental sciences who are doing this course together. And there have been very interesting projects which they have undertaken. For that also, they have a multidisciplinary team of researchers who guides them. So the idea is that the idea of silos or disciplinary boundaries. Um, I'll tell you how it used to operate in even our own university. I had no idea about other faculty members who worked in many departments of the university. It's only when we gather for an official function that we were introduced to each other. We had no idea of the type of work they were doing. That's why I said to incentivize multidisciplinary research, we have to incentivize multidisciplinary platforms. And these platforms are those where we would create interaction between these different sets of people we already have working in the same higher education institution. So, for example, in my interactions now with people who are teaching computer sciences, environmental sciences, I already see a lot of possibility of collaboration. This collaboration can be in the form of setting up joint research projects, or maybe if we are not getting projects, then at least continuously talking to each other, or maybe working towards a joint publication. And I'm a big votary of multidisciplinary publications wherein various aspects are taken into account. For example, in our own place, we have a huge problem with glaciers melting in Kashmir. Maharashtra has its own sets of problems with, let's say, land fertility, salination. But in our part of the world, in Kashmir, we have a huge problem related to glacier melt. Glaciers are receding. Glaciers are the source of water in our area. In fact, lots of rivers in Punjab originate from our place, are fed by glaciers. But glaciers are melting at a faster pace due to climate change. So our university has set up a center of excellence on glaciers, wherein primarily it is a team of people who are working in geology, remote sensing, geography, but then they also interface with people from social sciences, because we are at the and why is it that it's an issue for us is because we have to feed a lot of people. People have to get drinking water. People live in a particular environment. Water leads to agriculture. So a lot of now interface with social scientists on how to identify vulnerabilities for people who are engaged in agriculture or living close to these glaciers, because a faster melt of these glaciers has also led to sudden floods. So then it also creates possibilities of interaction or collaboration with people who work in disaster management. Then it creates possibilities of interaction with people who are working in communication because of areas like behavioral change communication, wherein you want to tell people what are the anthropogenic activities which are leading to such changes. You can have messaging to people, intelligent messaging, which would talk about how can we limit this faster rate of glacier melt. So there are lots of avenues for interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. How does NEP support faculty student research funding? So, yes, so I did not get the full question. How does NEP support faculty student research funding via institutions like deemed universities? Okay, so NEP is a document and it envisions or talks about creation of various funding agencies for research. And so I talked to you about the recent ANRF call. Please have a look at ANRF. It's coming up in a big way. The idea is that there is a lot of funding which is being made available for multidisciplinary research at the higher level. But your question about faculty student research funding, before this, I will address the question of research itself. The 4-year program, which has been promoted under NEP, which will soon become the default program in many universities in India and colleges in India, the 4th year is research based, and there is a focus on having people are given dissertations projects with faculty members, and in the 4th year students, major part of their project, in fact in our university, out of 24 credits, 20 credits in the last semester have been dedicated to the research project. So each faculty member gets 4, 5, or 6 students who do this project. I have also seen that in a lot of times these projects are not taken seriously, but I think these projects have a lot of potential if done with care to at least end up as good publications or maybe as proposals for future projects. There isn't funding as such for faculty student research at the undergraduate level, but the higher education institution can also incentivize some form of research, maybe by having an award on the best research done, poster presentation awards. Or what can be done is, if you are already a researcher who has a project, your students at the UGPG level can be engaged within that project, and I think they can also be given some resources towards making this research possible, and they can then continue this research for their PhD programs. But do have a look at various funding agencies. I would know from social sciences, ICSSR, ICHR, ICPR, but also look up the ANRF, which is really promoting multidisciplinary research. In fact, in the last call, they had a very interesting call wherein they wanted that the PI should be from social sciences and the co-PIs should be from sciences or engineering or technology. Yes, I understand that the many times cost is more and the incentives are less. But I am sure as the research spending in our country increases, we will see that this funding which reaches the supervisors and the students will also increase, if not decrease. But I think it will increase. The idea is also to be very intelligent. That's what I said. If you already have a project which is ongoing, I think if you have UGPG students, they can become a part of that project. A lot of times these student projects lead nowhere. The idea is that these student projects which you are doing with students should lead somewhere, either in the form of an industry linkage, which is not possible everywhere, but is possible in big metros, or it should lead towards proposal for a research project funding, or it should lead towards a publication, or it should lead towards at least a basic form of a publication, if not in a large, best international journal, but at least in some decent journal which is published nationally or from by your own higher education institution. I think that is another practice which should be promoted, that your own higher education institution, your own college or university should have a journal which should give space to students to publish their research. Just 2 days ago, I was reading news. I came across a very interesting news article. So, from research, I go back to the prospects of multidisciplinary education. So, the Winter Olympic Games are going on right now. There was case of a particular athlete who won the gold medal. She is a supermodel. She does various communication classes, but interestingly, she was enrolled in an elite university in a course on quantum mechanics. So that is the future of interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinary education. Yeah. Since you mentioned journals, so as part of the um, National Digital Infrastructure Project for Higher Education, there is something called One Nation, One Subscription. I don't know if your college gets that. Under One Nation, One Subscription, students get uniform access. So UGC buys access and gives it to all the universities. So students are able to access these journals. Yes, some journals have APCs, article publishing charges. I would suggest you look at journals which do not have APCs to start with, or if they have APCs, write to them about APC discounts. They are considerate. If they don't even give that, then consider some other journal. I would also see that, let's say, for example, your college has 200 people, and all the 200 people are doing, 200 students are doing research. How is it possible that these would be adjusted in, let's say, a journal? So that's why I think your college can also explore having journals, and because when students will do research, it's not necessary that they submit this research as a project. They could also submit this research as a research paper. You would be very surprised. Some universities in Denmark, what they do is their model of PhD alongside the normative model is that if a researcher publishes 5 papers in a particular field, he gets a PhD, he or she gets a PhD degree. That's still an exception, but I think those are the models which we should look at least when we are assessing our students. So why submit a dissertation or a project report which would gather dust in the library or which would be lost? Why not work towards a basic research paper, and from there the student can develop his or her research career? I would also want to hear from you that how is it that the NEP implementation is working in your college or your university? Anyone can tell me.
Actually, Dr. Vani sir,
Yeah.
what happened in the Maharashtra state?
Yeah.
The government of Maharashtra has come up with a certain government resolution that has
Okay.
been released in the 2023, and they
Okay.
have provided the unanimous framework
Okay. Good.
for autonomous colleges and thereafter the universities and the all affiliated colleges, and there will be one committee that has been appointed by the government of Maharashtra. One vice chancellor is there, Dr. Professor R.D. Kulkarni sir. He is the one honorable vice chancellor of Mumbai University, and under his able guidance the government has prepared that report, and according to that on the basis of that report we are implementing the national education policy. Certain these verticals, that is the IKS, then vocational skill education, DEC, DSC, major,
Yeah.
minor, all components will be there, GOAC, all components will be there, and they have divided into the unanimous structure of credit. That is 40 credit 40 credit per year, that is 20 credit for one semester, with the degree with honors, that is the 160 credit. So this structure has been unanimously, and unified structure will be implemented across Maharashtra in deemed university as well as the public university and affiliated colleges.
Okay. Great.
Thereafter, in that report, they have particularly suggested three concepts, that is the department specific core, that should be applicable to all all affiliated colleges particularly. Then the school specific courses and the faculty specific courses. But rather than the we have adopted only two concepts, that is the department specific DSC, department specific courses, and the school specific courses. Because in some certain universities, in our university there will be a departments, but another university that has been established, they have the school concept, and their
Okay.
sanction extending according to the school. Therefore these two concepts are elaborately implemented by all the affiliated college as well as the universities here.
Okay, great. So in particular, I would share our experience. So what happened was we used to offer the 3-year program in colleges in Kashmir, and then it transitioned to the 4-year program. And the university made a syllabus for the programs which were offered in the affiliated colleges. And for the first 3 semesters, so the student only has to take 4 credits of major, 4 credits of minor. And all the other credits are from languages, multidisciplinary courses, value-added courses, and skill courses. After 3 semesters, that's after 1.5 years, the student then has more courses on, most of the courses then are on the major and minor. And after 3 years, the student takes a choice whether to exit or to continue in the 4-year program. And if the student decides to continue in the 4th year, so he will either have honors in a major or he will have research. So bachelor's with research or bachelor honors. And from there on, the idea is that the student who completes the 4 year as per NEP, they will be given based on if they're above 7.5 GPA, they will be given a pathway for direct PhD. If not, then they can go for a 1-year master's, which again would also be research based. So the idea of multidisciplinarity has been put into practice, particularly in the first 3 semesters. So earlier, in our colleges, the student used to take up only one language, which was mostly English. Now the student has to take English, but also one other language, a regional language or an Indian language. So also the student has to take up courses like understanding India, constitution, health and well-being. There is also a credit on yoga, as you might not mention knowledge systems. There are also credits there. And in addition to that, a lot of multidisciplinary courses. The student has to take 1 to 2 multidisciplinary courses. So the idea is, following from the NEP template, the NEP guidelines which were issued, that in the first 3 semesters, a student is introduced to a lot of disciplinary understandings. Then there's one criticism which a lot of people have given, which is that a student ends up as a specialist in nothing. It's like learning everything and knowing nothing. But the multidisciplinary framework particularly emphasizes the first 3 semesters. From first 3 semesters, after first 3 semesters, the student goes towards the specialization and continues with the major minor. What has also happened is, based on the credits a student gets, the student has the choice that on the degree itself, they will have both major minor. The student also has the choice to complete major in another discipline if he or she has the capability or the time to do that. So the degree would, let's say, come out as FIUGP honors sociology. It could also be sociology and anthropology. So those are the ways in which multidisciplinarity is being put into practice. I did not get any questions on ABC, but ABC is the thing which is going to become very big. So ABC has been operationalized to start with through SWAYAM MOOCs. I would request all of you to have a look at SWAYAM MOOCs. The SWAYAM MOOCs are programs. There are many choices you have in the courses across disciplines. There are 4 credit courses, 2 credit courses, 6 credit courses, which you can enroll yourself in, or which you can suggest to your students if you do not have multidisciplinary capacities as of yet in your own higher education institution. That has been linked with ABC. So the student's record is already linked with the Academic Bank of Credit's ID. The SWAYAM MOOCs have also been linked with the Academic Bank of Credit's ID. When a student, so SWAYAM MOOCs are free. You have to pay some fees at the time of examination, but now even that amount is refunded in many cases when you pass that exam. So the SWAYAM courses after that is credited to a student's account. There is a possibility that if the student wishes, that credit will become a part of his or her transcript if he redeems it at your university.
Actually, sir, in our university, what we have adopted, we have set down a direction, because when we have set down this template and the syllabi of our all these faculties, there will be a one 4 credit course that should be opted from the SWAYAM particularly by the
Great,
students.
great.
Yeah, and in that cases, what happens are two things that we have that students are resist from taking that admission. First is that is the admission examination fee 1,000 rupees. Then they have prescribed, and another one is the examination level of the SWAYAM is really hard.
Yeah. In
We are
some
yeah, yeah.
courses, yes.
So whatever may be the feedback we have received from the students.
Yes, yes,
So what we have do, sir, our academic council has passed one resolution, and they have decided that the university should conduct the
yes,
parallel examination for
yes.
that particular scheme.
That is something which has come in
Yes,
now.
yes. So what we can doing, if the students are passing from this final examination, that should be directly transcribed on appear on their transcripts, and if they are fail, so say they are getting the next chance, so that the
Yeah,
universities
yeah.
are conducting. And as far
So,
as conducting
yes,
for the this examination fee, so we have particular student development fund, and we are
yes.
reimbursing that fees from our student development funds.
So I told you that I think you should also look up that for many courses, what SWAYAM is doing now is the fees is being refunded when the student
Yeah, sir.
passes the exam.
When they get passed in that condition,
Yes,
definitely they will receive
yes,
the. But that amendment should be made in the 2020
yes.
23, I think,
Yes.
particularly.
So, what I would also suggest, this is something we did. We also realized that students were taking up SWAYAM programs, but either were not appearing in the exams, or number two, were not able to qualify. Okay. So then what we did was we had some preliminary exercise where we identified certain SWAYAM MOOCs, and this was student still has the choice, but these were the identified courses which we publicized where the student could go and not have those problems. There's one more issue we realized.
Definitely, sir. What happened here in the public universities, you definitely know that the board of studies of different
Yeah,
faculties, what they
did that.
can they can
They can.
approve in that particular courses in June and
Yes,
July. A
yes,
bundle of courses will be launched on the SWAYAM, and out of that, couple of courses, 10 or 15 courses, they may be approved.
yes.
And our restriction is that only that approved 15 courses that should be taken by the
I
student only.
understand. So I would also suggest one more thing. We have realized that the idea is that through SWAYAM MOOCs, there is disciplinary understanding which a student can gain, but you should also promote multidisciplinary approach here. So, for example, let's say there is a student who is doing, let's say, English literature, and there is a SWAYAM MOOC course on translation. I think that is something which may not be offered to him or her in the department, but the student can gain that from the program which is offered on MOOC. Similarly, that student can also benefit from, let's say, research methods program, which may not be offered in the same college, or maybe a particular method which is novel. Also, what can be done is that I think this is something which a lot of us can do, is that promote a lot of guest lectures between departments. It's always a good practice. For that, we also don't need to spend a lot of money. So those capacities are already identified in the university. So, for example, a teacher from computer sciences can go and deliver a lecture, one in a semester, for students from the humanities background. Or let's say I found it very interesting there was a teacher from pharmacology, pharmaceutical sciences, who came to deliver a lecture to anthropology students, and that was one of the fascinating lectures we attended. So therein, the students don't also have this fear of not passing in the exams. So there are small steps we can do to promote multidisciplinarity at our own levels. But I also understand students already have a lot of overload. We don't. So that is something which the NEP also talks about, that there should be innovative assessment methods. Unfortunately, what we see is that we are changing the curriculum. We are saying we are flexible. We are saying that the pedagogy has changed, but the examination pattern still remains the same. I'm sure in your university some step has been taken in that direction. I would also say that more steps need to be taken there. I think that is one area where a lot of universities need to do a lot of work.
Sir,
Students should not fear exams. That is
Def-
not
de-
happening.
definitely, sir, definitely that NEP has provided the flexibility in the different pathways. But what happens, sir, that the driven forces, particularly the faculty members,
I know, I know, I know.
those,
Same
those who
here.
have those who
Same
have engaged,
everywhere. Yeah,
those who have engaged in this. So first
yeah.
of all, the shortage of faculty is a very big question,
I
because
know. That
without
hopefully that, yeah,
yes, sir, without faculty, without availability of faculty, it is not possible to implement this policy in this. And another one thing is that faculty, those who have already engaged, they are coming up on their retirement or superannuations.
yeah.
So therefore, that is very challenging issue.
I
Whenever,
know, I know,
yeah,
I know.
energized and capable faculty will not be there, sir. It is very destructive in manner that the NEP will be implemented in zest or the spirit.
Hopefully, in the next 3, 4 years, we will see
Yeah, yeah,
that
definitely,
there
definitely,
would
sir,
be some
definitely.
change, and hopefully, there would be a lot of hirings. I started with that when I said that my friends and colleagues in various colleges are saying that they moved from the 3 year to the 4 year program without having any additional faculty member. So there, and in addition to that, having 2 more semesters, they also have to offer a lot of multidisciplinary
Sir,
programs.
rather than semester, also there is another one darkness side, that is the faculties are engaging in the administrative work, sir,
Yes.
rather than teaching, research, and the student outcome. They are
Yes.
already engaging, and now our institution is targeting the NAC and NRIF ranking and the QS ranking, and whatever may be our activities are accordingly that per schedule or that templates or that activities. So
Yeah.
this thing will also be challenging there, but
Hopefully,
definitely we have hopefully some solutions will be there.
hopefully, in the next 3, 4 years. So see, change is slow. Okay, change takes time. That is something this policy has also understood, and we are hopeful that with the developments in infrastructure, I would not just say faculty. I have also mentioned resource constraints.
Yeah, yes, sir, definitely.
There are, you may have faculty, but you may have only one classroom, or the classroom may be engaged, or you may not have up-to-date tech tools. You may not have smart panels or smart boards. There is another problem now. You are competing with elite private universities now, where students pay a lot of fees and they get the best facilities. So your student has to compete with, let's say, a student of Ashok, Jindal, Flame. I think Flame is in Pune. Your faculty members, your students have to compete with that standard without having the same resources. But I'm hopeful that in the next few years, this would stabilize. And I'm hopeful that you will get faculty. The NEP policy places an emphasis on faculty and departments from various disciplines in the colleges, and some of this would be taken up by them. So we are in this phase of there were lots of problems with NAT DigiLocker earlier also, but
Yeah,
NAT
yeah, definitely,
DigiLocker
sir,
has become
definitely.
very smooth now.
Because
Hopefully,
in the inception era, sir, I was handling that technical work, all of that particular thing, that NAD, and
yes.
what kind what kind of errors will be there, I know very well,
Hopefully
sir.
that has stabilized, and
Yeah, yeah,
now
sir, yes, yes.
they have moved on to the next stage wherein the earlier analog records are being digitized. So it takes some time, but I think we are on the right pathway. And hopefully faculty members will get a lot of time to conduct their research also. But this fourth year wherein you are getting a lot of students for research, please look at that. That's an opportunity to conduct research on various themes. Thank you very much. As you rightly pointed out, we have a lot of admin work also. We have a convocation coming up next week, so we have some admin work related to that. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully you will also consider visiting Kashmir soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vani sir. Thank you for
Thank
such a wonderful concept and thought-provoking session here, sir.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank
you have
you.
changed our dynamics from our rigid pattern to our to this new dimension, that is the multidisciplinary holistic education. We
Thank
are
you.
really
Thank you so
thankful
much.
to you, sir, for
My
your
pleasure.
precious time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
with the
so much.
kind consent of Dr. Vani sir, I would like to declare that this particular session will be over here and we will move for the next session. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Aarti, madam.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Ma'am, we are extremely sorry we have taken your 5 minutes.
Yeah, no issues, no issues, sir.
Shall we start, ma'am, if you could permit?
Yeah. I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah. So, friends, good afternoon once again. As I have already told you that the today's session have been split into the two different parts, and but both are interlinked. The first part, that is the holistic and multidisciplinary education, and now we are going to discuss that is the innovative pedagogy that will be really expected by the this policy. Friends, what happened, the changes will happen from one step to another step. Okay, and we have started drafted our curricula in the innovative method, but the second part of that particular thing is that the pedagogy that had should be that faculty should be trained or motivated to opt that faculty, because the innovative pedagogy is very much important. uh, Accordingly, the assessment is also equally important. So the innovative pedagogy we will going to discuss with the help of one of our renowned and scholarly expert, Dr. Aarti Hadap, madam. Ma'am, first of all, I extend my warm welcome to you, to this platform, and particular to this session,
Thank you,
and
sir.
to
Thank you
this
so much.
flagship program. Friends,
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Aarti Hadap is an accomplished physicist, academician, the innovator, currently serving as the Associate Professor of Physics in the Department of Basic Sciences and the Humanities at Mukesh Patel School of Technology, Management and Engineering at the Narsimonji Institute of Management Studies, that is the deemed to be university situated in the Mumbai. With over 2 decades of teaching as well as the research experience, she has previously served at Baba Atomic Research Center, that is the BAR, Trena Engineering College, and the Swami and the Vivekananda Education Society's Institute of Technology. She is also the co-founder of Swikriti Asset LLP, that is established in 2022, and the board of directors of Navajyoti Seva Sanstha at Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Hadap has made significant contribution to the physics, nanotechnology, and the interdisciplinary sciences. Her scholarly publication includes the 30 research paper in the reputed national and the international journal indexed in the Scopus and the Web of Science. Author and edited 7 different books and contributed different book chapters with the leading publishers, that includes the Elsewhere and the Springer. She is the reviewer and the editor of 4 international journals. She has successfully executed and completed 2 government funded research projects and 1 commercial project. She has recognized research supervisor, and under his able guidance, 2 scholars have been completed their PhD degree and one is still pursuing. She is mentored 6 summer interns also. She is published few different Indian patents, and 3 UK patents are granted on her credit. Dr. Hadap Dr. Hadaf has received numerous national and international recognitions, including the International Innovative Women Scientist Award in Physics in 2021, Best Academician and the Academic Leader Award in 2022, International Excellence Award for Outstanding Contribution in Teaching and the Research in 2022, and the Best Research Paper Presentation Award in 2022. She has actively participated and attended in the several national faculty development programs, national and international conferences. She is also invited a keynote speaker and the invited speaker at the various international conferences. Friends, this is a brief introduction with regards to Dr. Aarti ma'am. And today she will interact on this innovative teaching pedagogy. So without taking too much time, ma'am, I once again extend my warm welcome to you and request you to please start with your session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, friends. Uh, Today's session, I start with a quote, Ya Drishti Sa Srishti. This is a Sanskrit terminology. That means is, as is your vision, so is your creation. So being an educator, first we should vision. And after that, accordingly, we should create our teaching terminology, teaching content. So that is basically our creation to impart to the students. So my today's topic is innovative teaching pedagogy. As sir already gave my introduction, so I'm just starting with my presentation. Today I'll be talking on innovative teaching pedagogy. My flow of presentation will be, this is first I'll start, my slides are visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So first I'll start my presentation will be from our ancient Gurukul Parampara, what our previous education system was, and that I'll try to connect with the NEP approach, and then I'll try to bridge an analogy between that two. And afterwards, by considering the innovations in today's era, how can we proceed ahead to the new pedagogies? So that is my flow of today's talk will be. So first, I'll start to develop an analogy between ancient Gurukul Parampara to NEP 2020 approach. Here, I made the analogy based on four major fields. One is core aim of education, why to teach, what to teach, how much to teach, all that things. Then the role of a teacher. Afterwards, the societal relevance, what we are teaching, how that is impacting to our society. And then the outcome of education. So if I will go long back, almost 200 years back or like that, then in the Gurukul Parampara was there, students were supposed to go to the teachers and there they need to learn. So what happening was there in the Gurukul? So Gurukul was asking their students to be holistic development. So in Hindi, that holistic development, we can call it as Gyan plus Charitra plus Jivan Kaushal. So Jivan Kaushal means the Guru is trying to make them employable. Gyan, obviously, they are there for to learn. And then Charitra, they should able to maintain ethical values. Similarly, NEP is also asking students from to be to get the holistic approach. Being a teacher, we should give them. Then multidisciplinary. So if I am learning physics, then I should not learn only physics. Rather, it should be a multidisciplinary approach. Then competency-based education. So what I am learning, that is just bookish, that will not be enough. That will not make me employable. So it should be competence-based education. I should be able to solve the real world problem. So that competency I should have after learning. So that is basically the core aim of the education will be. So here, analogy, if I'll try to make out, then the analogy will be both focus on overall personality development, not just academics. So degree will not be enough. Rather, there should be a personality development. Second, the role of teaching. The gurus were a mentor, a guide, and moral role model. Now also, students are having plenty of sources around them, from the Google, from the AI, from the plenty of books in the library, they can get the knowledge. But the thing is, being a teacher, we should not provide them the content. Rather, our role is changing as a facilitator. How to channelize that knowledge for their problem, how they take out the knowledge from them, and how they can proceed ahead with that knowledge. So that is basically the role of facilitator is. Then mentor, Just giving them knowledge came out from the classroom, that is not enough. Rather, we should mentor them. We should guide them. We should guide them for solving the real life problem. That is basically our aim is. With the real life examples in my presentation, I'll be explaining all that things in details. Then lifelong guide. Just classroom is over, my job is done, then my role with the student is over. That is not the case. We should be a lifelong guide for them. The way we taught, that should be there in their mind, how they can approach for the real life problems, how they can balance themselves, all that things we need to nurture in them. That is the lifelong guiding for them. So again, shift from instructor to mentor in both the systems. The third vertical on which I created the analogy was the education aligned with dharma. So right now, dharma, we will not focus much, but still, in the ancient times, education aligned with dharma, society, and real life duties. So right now, also on the society and real life duties, yes, this plays a big role. Skill-based learning, yes, with which the students will be the employable. Vocational integration, whatever they are studying, that should be vocational. With that, how they can serve the society, how can they solve the real life problems. So that vocational integration should be there in their teaching. If I'm teaching physics, then just I teach the laws of physics may not be enough for me. I should teach them that how they can use that laws in their day-to-day life. And the social needs, yes, that also they should understand. So again, if I try to think of for the analogy, then education connected with real world and social responsibilities, that will be the real social relevance, what they are learning. Then outcome based education. Yes, our NEP is talking about the outcome based learning. So here again, ethical, self-reliant, then value driven individuals, the Gurukul is trying to make out. Similarly, through NEP, what kind of students we are expecting, that they should be responsible in an ethical way also. Then innovative. So like whatever previous approaches were there, they should know that approach. But with that, they should think in out of the box way. And globally competent citizens. They should become a globally competent citizens. Both aim to produce responsible, self-reliant learners. Right? So this way, whatever ethics, whatever values the Gurukul Parampara was having, basically the NEP proposed the same thing for us now. Vision of NEP, what NEP is thinking for. NEP is thinking for student holistic approach, experimental learning, not only the bookish learning, rather the experimental learning, then skills. Again, that skills should be, with that skills, they should be able to solve the real life problems. So whatever theoretical knowledge they'll be having, whatever bookish knowledge they'll be having, they should be able to implement that. They should be able to implement that on the real world problem. Then ethics. Whatever they're doing, it should be ethical also. So being a teacher, we should have that platform to develop the ethical values for the students. Everywhere they should think that whether this is ethical or not, they should think on that, and afterwards they will try to use that. So why is critical thinking important? NEP says that we should teach critical thinking. In my college, there is one subject. The name of that subject is critical thinking, and that is taught to be a major subject, which is having some credits also. So why is critical thinking important? So with critical thinking, that helps to improve decision making. So this is for all the subjects. In all the subjects, it should improve the decision making to the students. Then enhance their problem solving capability. Critical thinking will refine their research skills, because for innovations, research is required. In all subject, research is required. So that way, refinement of research skills will only possible with the critical thinking. Then polish your creativity. This is for, like, though we are educators, but we are good learners also. Because if a good educator always should be a good learner. So like 20 years back, I studied in this way. Now, why should I go for AI, or why should I go for the digital tools, or why should I smartboard if I can do that with the blackboard chalk teaching? So that is not correct. We should be creative also. We should be acceptable also, that what is there in front of me, I should utilize that, I should learn that, and then I should proceed ahead. Then stimulate curiosity. Critical thinking, again, it is stimulating curiosity also for the new learning. So overall, the vision of NEP says that what kind of students we need to make out as an educator will be, we should bring the holistic development for the student. We should make them experimental learning. We should develop the skills in them. We should create the critical thinking in them. And we should, yes, really develop the ethics in them. Now, the problem with our current system. In general, if I talk, then generally for the students, final term end exams are there. There, they need to mug up certain questions. They need to answer whatever they are writing on the paper. Based on that, they are evaluated. But NEP is trying to change it. There, a major component is there for ICA, that is internal continuous assessment. So there, for the final exams, right now we don't have anything in our hand to change being an educator or being a teacher. But yes, at ICA level, we can implement something to reach on to the objectives of NEP. So from moving away from rote learning, can we bring something in ICA component in an innovative way? That we should think of. Low societal relevance. Whatever assignments we are giving, can we put some efforts to design the that assignment in an innovative way and the way of submission in a very innovative way? Can we do something for that? I will discussing two new pedagogies which I have developed, but I'll be able to answer these kind of questions. Then uniform pedagogy for diverse learners. In my class, all the students are not same. So my pedagogy should be in such a way that diverse learners should get benefited with that. Ethics, yes, the ethics should be developed to the students. So to overcome these problems, we need to apply certain new pedagogies, the innovative pedagogies are. So as per me, overall cycle for the teaching framework is what basically the teaching is. First, it will start with why I am teaching, what I am teaching, how I am teaching, how well I had taught, and then what next. This is overall the cycle for teaching is. Now, why I am teaching, in general, this answer will be given by the stakeholders who are designing the syllabus. Again, in that syllabus, what I am teaching, the objectives are being defined. So like if a syllabus has been designed for a university, then the university stakeholders are answering this why. That why that particular course should be there for that particular program. Then what is the importance of that course? What objectives are to be achieved from that course? So these two answers are being given by the stakeholders of the university. But in our hand, rest three things are there. Being educator, we are having a hold on how well, and what next. So how means what objectives are being given to me by the university. In my teaching, I should be able to achieve that objectives. My way of teaching should be in such a way. Afterwards, I should evaluate whether whatever I had taught, whether student got that thing, whether they achieved that objectives or not. So that way I need to evaluate, right? So how this is pedagogy driven. So in my pedagogy, I should be able to clearly reach on to my objectives. I should be able to make students what all things which I discussed previously, whether that is useful to the society, how they need to think for to apply that for solving the real life problems. So all that things should be there in my teaching. Right? Afterwards, I should evaluate what I teach. Then again, the student mug up and writing down the answer. That final end term examination they are giving. But at ICA level, can I apply some innovations in evaluation process? So there also how I am designing my assignment, how I am taking my class activity. So based on that, how evaluation can be done in an innovative way that I can think of. That is there in my hand completely, being educated. So on that two things I need to work on. The third thing is what next? After evaluation, I should give a immediate feedback to the student. Student submitted an assignment. I had checked that assignment after a week, and then what student wrote, even student forgot. I had given certain marks. Now student is also not having any interest to know what mistake he had done. So there, What next? So if somehow my evaluation pedagogy is defined in such a way that they are getting the immediate feedback, then that will motivate them to improve. So overall, this cycle of teaching framework, I need to work on these three things being a good educator. How well, and what next? So to move on to this, I'll take again one example from the ancient, a very well-known story of Arjun and Dronacharya from the Mahabharata. So here, when you all of we are aware of that story, and in that story, what Dronacharya was trying to do with the student, how the lesson is being taught. He need to teach teach a lesson to the student that their objective for teaching is what? When a student is using a bow and the arrow, he should be focused. He should be goal-oriented. Whatever distractions are around him or her, but he should focus only on a point. That lesson, the Dronacharya was the Dronacharya's objective was there to teach the student. That was his lesson. And again, how he is doing that thing, he had taken that to the normal surrounding. And there he had conducted that lesson giving part. How he evaluated that? So to give that lesson, he had not given a lecture. Rather, he taught that thing through the evaluation process. So basically, a proper blending of teaching and evaluation should be there. So how he started giving that lesson? So for that, he used the evaluation pattern to give that lesson to the student. Though the basics of that lesson already he had given, but that goal wala concept that he tried to give with the evaluation process. How to use bow and arrow he taught to the student. How much strength he should give to that wire, how he should aim for the bow. All that things already he taught. But here the main objective for that day's lesson was how to focus. So that is important. So that he had taken through the concept of evaluation. Performance-based assessment. Every student was coming in front of him. He was asking the same question. What is visible to you? Student answered something, and then he said, next will come. Then how feedback is given. Every student was not getting feedback. Once Arjun reached on, and when Arjun said that, I'm able to see only the eye of the bird. That was the immediate feedback to the student that where they had done the mistake. So for them, the lacking was they were not goal oriented. So this lesson, the Dronacharya was given. In this story, that lesson was given. So our teaching, what I feel, should be of this type. So for this kind of teaching, there are multiple pedagogies. So in today's session, I may not be, I will not be able to cover up all, but with two pedagogies, I'll try to make you people understand, or I'll try my experience to share with you people is how we can achieve this thing. So in today's session, I'll be focusing on two pedagogies. One, the gamification of a problem. Second, the context-based learning. So in gamification, what I'll be doing, I'll be explaining how the pedagogy should be planned, right? Learning through engaging activities such as crossword, word search, picture-based, comprehension. Then how we will be achieving the objectives, that measurements also I'll be giving. And then the mapping with the NEP, that also I'll be explaining with both the pedagogies. Second pedagogy which I'll be taking is real-world simulation-based learning, where students apply concept on contextual scenarios, promoting critical thinking, communication, and experimental understanding. So two case studies I had taken from my physics background, though very simple things I had taken, but here my aim is to explain that pedagogy, how I tried implementing in my class. So this is that gamification concept. I had taken the Sudoku kind of thing, word puzzle. So that things I had taken. This pedagogy I implemented for my course. The name of the course is Quantum Physics, right? And the hours assigned for this course was 30 hours. Okay. So what I taught in this, through this pedagogy, this is to be supposed to cover up in 2 hours, but by using that pedagogy, I am able to cover up that portion in a faster way, just in 1 hour, all the things I had covered up. So that way I'm saving my time also. Then objective of the course is introduction towards quantum computing. So whatever theory I'll be teaching for quantum physics, that theory, the objective of this course was that concept they should use in the quantum computing, which is the new emerging era. So that they should be able to use. My classroom strength is of 60 students. For 60 students, I need to design this pedagogy. Then planning of activity, this activity I had planned with a group of 4 students. So 4 students will be working on one as a group, as a collaborator, as a peer learners. So that way the group of 4 students we need to design for this. Then time for activity. This activity, first I explained them activity. So 1 hour session was there. So actual implementation of this pedagogy was for 45 minutes. So this way, overall this pedagogy I had designed for. How I implemented that. So again, like we are a good learners also. So I adopted ChatGPT, I adopted different AI tools and the puzzle making tools. And by using all that tools, I designed a crossword puzzle for them. So in this crossword puzzles, whatever words I tried to use that are correlating to my objective, where students should get acquainted with the terminology, opted from quantum physics, that will be useful for quantum computing is. So because for quantum physics, that is a purely new subject for them. Till class 12, they had not used to of the terminology. They'd gone through with classical physics, Newtonian physics and all that. So they're not aware of. So here, through this pedagogy, my aim was they should get acquainted with that words they should understand. So for that, I designed this crossword puzzle for them. Again, being a good learner, I opted many AI tools for it. Here, my audience are. Actually, I'm opted this pedagogy for my first year students. Then in my college, this course is again offered to the higher semester students also as elective, and few my PhD students, because they also need to learn the quantum computing. So for them also, this course I am taking. So I'm having 3 different type of learners. My first category of the audience are my first year engineering students. They are coming from diversified boards. So in some boards, some topic is covered up. In some other board, the topic has not been covered up. So I need to cater that category of the audience. Integrated class system. All type of learners are there. Some are fast learners, some are slow learners. So definitely being a teacher, we need to cater all such students. Then exam focused. Till 12th, they are in a system that you need to clear the exam. Once you will be clearing the exam, you will be getting this, you will be getting that. So our education system till 12th is like a pipeline. In this pipe, if this you will send an input, this will come out. So thinking is not actually been developed properly. So that kind of audience I need to cater for. Then limitations, limited limited interpretative reasoning. So the reasoning is not that much good. Though they scored 90-95%, but their reasoning is really not up to mark. Exam-oriented mindset, they are always in the impression that I need to clear the exam. That is my only aim is. I need to score. That is my only aim is. Where I'm going to use that knowledge, that is very superficial for them. Similarly, when I'm talking for the higher semester student, if I'll teach them in a conventional way, they know that in the library, multiple books are available. In the Google, the lectures are available. On the YouTube, lectures are available. Why I am supposed to sit in the class? Just only for the attendance. So their response towards teachers are very weird nowadays. So they are calling on the class. They can say, let me call you back. The teacher is distracting. The teacher is distracting me. Really, we used to heard this kind of words. So students are not focusing on us. So here again, we need to bring them to the classroom through our pedagogy improvement will be. Then the next category of audience which I'm dealing with is the mature audience. Returning to academic rigor after a gap. Need to shift from student mindset to the researcher mindset. So really now they want to learn. They want to understand. Curious but uncertain, intelligent but transitioning. motivated, yet sometimes overwhelmed. So these three different categories of the students I'm having in front of me, and I applied this pedagogy, these all categories of the students. And really, I'm saying after using this pedagogy, really in the same way what I had done, I'm able to cater all these three categories. So with my pedagogy, making this diverse audience understand information and this subject in limited man hours. Because again, we are having the limitations with the time. Our course has been defined for limited hours. We need to cover up that in limited hours. But yes, I'm able to do that. Now, theory subject. This is quantum physics. Again, this is purely a theory subject. So simulations are possible, but this is again a theory subject. So interpretation and vocab building I need to do from this. Contextual reasoning I need to do from this. Ethical judgment they should be able to do. Open-ended evaluation the subject demands. Now, for me, the problem statement is, how do I bridge this cognitive shift? So for that, the constraints are extensive syllabus, limited contact hours, dense theoretical content, reduced attention span. So in exposure is equal to understanding. So I need to give the exposure to the student. So for that, my approach is transforming narrative learning into the structure problem solving. That was my pedagogies. So how I did? So first, I gave them the word that today we'll be playing a game. That is really, I'm playing with their minds. I said that in today's class, we are going to play a game that changed a mindset for them. How? When a task is presented as a game, the brain shifts from I am being evaluated to I am being challenged. So there is a difference between the word evaluated and challenged. Evaluation means marks will come. If I'll score less, then what will happen? If I'll score better, what will happen? So all that questions will start in the mind. If the brain is challenged, it means we are indirectly forcing them to learn, but in a good way. Because they are challenging themselves. Nobody else is challenging them. They want to achieve. Because since from their childhood, they are used to of gaming. With the game, they want to win. They want to learn. So that thing came in their mind. The challenge was not delivering content. Here, once I brought them in my class, I made them engaged, my 50% job is done. Now here, I need to design to fit the learner's cognitive framework. So that work I can do before it. So in class, I need not work on them. In class, my only aim was to bring them mentally to the class. So beforehand, if I had done a proper exercise for designing that game, then my 50% job is done before entering the class. Now, this reduces fear of failure. Student will not feel that, oh, मैं fail हो गया, then what will happen? They will really enjoy that thing. Performance anxiety. Performance anxiety will not be there. मैं fail हो जाऊंगा, I will get 0, I will get this, I will get that. That will not be there in. Then resistance to complex theory. There, they will be designing their own ways to solve the problem. Sometimes they might be using the elimination. Sometimes they might be using the connections. The circuit will get developed in their mind. It increases curiosity. It increases definitely the curiosity in the student. Willingness to participate. Risk taking in thinking. That they will start doing. Now here, the psychological way how this pedagogy works. So that I want to discuss. So neurological response. How neurologically the students are changing their mind. What is happening after listening the word gamification? So game-based tasks activate dopamine in them. Dopamine, the motivation and reward system. So since from their childhood, they are used to of listening the word game. And with that word game, how they are connected with, I will get rewarded for that. I will get motivated for that. Then attention networks. Their attention will be different now. I want to play the game. So they are there in the class, they are engaged in the class, and they are having attention of networks. Then pattern recognition circuits. then whatever coming in their mind, probably they are not able to connect that with exactly what has been written from the book, but they'll try to connect that with the pattern. Oh, book mein this type of thing had been written, so now this way the question has been asked, so I need to reply in this way. So they will be reaching on to that word. Here again, as my game is of word puzzle, then they will be reaching on to that specific word, so they'll be able to, pattern recognition circuit will get developed in their mind. So with this, the brain becomes alert, the brain becomes engaged, and then the brain became focused. So one of the objective I reach passive reception. He is not listening what I am lecturing. Rather, the student is engaged. The student is engaged. Active processing is happening in the mind. Second, the cognitive response. Cognitive response means analytical, and what cognitive levels we had learned in Bloom taxonomy. So here that is happening, something happening in their minds. So problem solving.
Hello, Dr. Hadap, ma'am. You are not audible, ma'am. Dr. Arti, ma'am. Yes, I think she is disconnected. We'll wait for the couple of time.
So is ma'am disconnected?
Yes, ma'am. She is disconnected. I think I am trying to call her. Please
Yes.
wait for 1 or 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am. Yes.
बीच में कुछ डिसकंटिन्यू हुआ था because
Yeah.
at my place
Yes, yes, ma'am. I think there is some technical glitch. You can please continue, ma'am. Please continue.
Up to what slide I continued? I mean, you were able to hear.
Ma'am, you were talking about those 4 sections.
My screen is visible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Screen is visible. You can
Yeah,
please
this-
start your
this-
PPT, ma'am.
Page number 13. You were on page number 13, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on this page I was. So cognitive response that I think I discussed. Now social response. Collaboration increases. So in my class, actually, Sometimes students feel lonely if they are not able to cope up. So in that case, one more thing required to engage the student and make a class very interesting will be, we should create a social response or a engagement with each other. So collaboration increases, because later on also, if they'll be working in the company, they need to work in a group. So if they need to work in a group, then they should be able to listen somebody and able to express themselves. So for that, it is very much essential that we should create a atmosphere of peer learning, collaboration for them. Peer discussions are required in the class. Healthy competition should be there in the class. So that things we need to nurture from our, at very micro level, from our classrooms. Right? Then emotional response. They should feel enjoyment. That feel should come in them. Then achievement satisfaction. Yes, after this class, but when in 25 minutes, whatever I did, I achieved something. So that will be there in their mind. They will be able to recollect that when they'll be reaching home. That is their fit in what I want to message them. So that is there in their mind. Confidence boost up. Their confidence will get boosted up, and aha realization will be there in them. So learning outcome shift. If I'm giving them certain assignment, I'm making them compulsory to write down. That is our traditional task is, you go home, this assignment you need to submit on this date. Okay, that assignment I had given, it is compulsory for you because your 10-mark ICA will be depending on that. So that way I'm making them compulsion. This is my traditional task. So he will, in boredom at night, he'll be sitting, he'll be writing down something, and then he'll be submitting that. So this is compliance driven participation. Though he is participating, though she is participating, but that is not willingly. But if I changed my pedagogy, and like if I'm talking for this particular pedagogy, then game-based task I have given to them. So that way they are engaged. Their engagement driven participation will be there in the class. Even if the content is theoretical, again, my subject is purely theoretical. So really this is supposed to be a very dry subject, but they got interest in that. The format makes it feel structured and solvable. So what homework I had done beforehand that made them structured and solvable. So now gamification tools which I used. I kept 3 activities for them. One, the word search. Second, the crossword. And next, the picture-based comprehension. So here, if we go for our, this cognitive level we need to reach, this way this has been defined in the Bloom taxonomy. So how the things are happening. My objectives are defined for that particular course will be for all the cognitive levels. So with the word search, what I'm trying to do for them? I'm trying to keep them remember something. So cognitive level, the remember level outcome I achieved. Then I had given a bit complicated, I had given them a crossword. So understand, with that they understood something. Picture analysis, some pictures I had taken from net. Yes, I am a good learner. I had learned the new way of using AI tools, how to use that AI tools on my smart board. All that things I learned, and with that I give them picture analysis. So with that I'm asking them to apply. Then case grids I had given, some case-based specific problems I had given. So like if I'm talking for my course, some IBM-based practicals we'll be taking for quantum computing. So case grid I had given. I'm trying to make them analyze. And then ethical dilemma game. Then with that, I'm trying to make them evaluate. So learning outcomes, what I achieved with full activity is increased participation. My class is active. So 50% my work is done because they are active. They are listening me. They are understanding. So my 50% objective got covered up if I'm designing my pedagogy properly. I'm entering in my class with perfect preparation, perfect plans, and structured pedagogy. Then higher engagement. Students are highly engaged. So if they are engaged, then definitely the neurological way, psychological way, I can conclude that yes, they'll be able to remember. They will be applying that in their that particular concepts in their day-to-day life. Then reduce resistance to theory. Reduce resistance to theory. They are getting bored. Why to study that theory? Where I'm going to use it? actually, in my last class, in one of my class, one student was asking me, ma'am, we were taught in long back that 2 plus 2 is 4 or that way, but where we are going to use it, that kind of very funny questions they were asking. But if you're planning the activities in that way, and if you're able to connect them with the real life problems, then this reduced resistance to theory will get reduced. Then better interpretation in the allocated time. So what things I need to taught in 2 hours, I covered that in 1 hour. But for that, yes, I need to take a before and exercise. At my end, I should be structured. I should be prepared to implement that particular pedagogy. So stepwise, how I design a small puzzle. So for designing that puzzle, formulate the clues, write the answers. Online word search and crossword puzzle development can be done when clues and answers are given. For pictures, now what we have various tools, AI tools, all that things I use, and with that I designed this particular pedagogy. So this is one pedagogy which I want to discuss with you or share with you people. The second pedagogy which I had taken in my class, that is the laser con. This is again a very new way of teaching the concept. So in general, from the students, it has been expected that they should be they should communicate properly. They should be able to sell their knowledge properly, because nowadays wherever they will be working for, they need to face the interview. So in the interview, what they learned, they need to reciprocate in a better way. They should be able to connect that in a better way. So at micro level, can we start that from our classroom only? So for that, I had this pedagogy also I had implemented in my class, and the name of this pedagogy is the laser con. This activity I had taken. Now, this pedagogy, how I implemented is, I need to teach a chapter called laser and its applications. Again, I'm so sorry, I'm taking all the examples from physics as I'm a physics teacher, but still, these are the very basic physics concepts. Probably you people might be able to connect that with your subjects also. So I need to teach a a topic called laser from physics. And in that, the objectives were how engineers can use the knowledge of laser for the innovations. So that thing I basically need to teach it. In general, the term and exam questions are very basic. What laser is, how laser has been made. So these are very traditional questions. So while teaching, also teaching the same thing always, even we also feel that what we are doing. Then I thought of, and then again, students are not finding interest because they are not able to connect that, how that can be used for the engineers. So that was really a full-time question in their mind. So they are also very restless in the class, and they are just studying that to learn. Okay, this way I'll be studying, I'll be able to write down in this way, this much marks I'll be getting in my term exam. Then in the last semester only, I used this particular pedagogy. So in this pedagogy, what I had done, the students are very much interested in working in committees, then play some roles. So all that things they are doing. In many of the colleges, the MAN festival is taking place. So there, students are representing certain countries, and they are getting knowledge for that countries. And then they'll be sitting in the groups, and they are just doing chit chat and presenting their own part as a particular way. So that way they are doing that activities. So I tried using that particular concept, and I designed this pedagogy as a LaserCom 25. So here what I had done, very basic knowledge. So again, this is my physics course. There, one of the chapter is laser. That chapter I need to cover in 6 hours. 6 or 7 hours. 7 hours I need to cover that chapters. So to cover that chapters, what I had done in just 2 hours, what I had done, I taught very basic things about the laser to them. Very basic things about the laser to them. Afterwards, what I had done, I sent them a proper planning of my activity a week back. Okay, so in that planning, what I had done, I divided the applications of laser in 7 ways. One, the medical and surgical applications of laser. then communication application of laser, industry application of laser, scientific research application of laser, defense and security, how the laser has been used, then everyday life like barcode scanner, CD, DVD, entertainment, how the laser are being used, and the future innovations about the laser. So full topic, full application, I had divided in 7 parts. And this already sent them to the student. Later on, what I had done, I had defined that activity in such a way that there they need to make I defined the group of 7 people. Okay, so for 7 people, some roles are been decided. So in every group, there will be a researcher, 1 or 2 can be researcher, 1 or 2 can be presenter, 1 or 2 can be questionnaire, and 1 or 2 can be the recorders. So that way, the group of 7 students, because this activity was there for the class of 70 students, so I designed that way. I mean, the 7 topics I had given, few topics were repeated also, but still. So these 4 delegates will be there in every group. So every delegate will be having a certain role. Because we know that all the students are not same. Somebody can be very good in researching and data collection, but somebody are very good presenter also. So depending upon their qualities, they decided their roles among themselves. I said that inside one group, these 4 delegates should be there. But you need to decide as per your capability, who will be working on what. Who will be working on what? So that way, researcher will link laser application, what basics I had taught, like stimulated emission or a coherency or population inversion, whatever basics I had taught, the researcher should link that basics with the application, what I said, what they had chosen, like in the medical application or in the communication, whatever application they had chosen, they need to make a bridge to give the presentation. After that, presenter will be making a perfect presentation. So their presentation quality should also be good. The content which is there on the slide, that should always be good. They should be able to present that properly. And only 5 minutes time I had given for that presentation. Afterwards, questionnaire. So rest of the classes, all I need to be engaged for them, what I had done. Rest of the groups should listen that presentation properly. I asked them to keep their mobiles in the bag, so they are just listening, and after that they need to create the quality questions based on what they listen. So they need to listen, otherwise they could not be able to, because their quality of questions will also get graded. So how the research had been done, how the presentation had been done, how the questionnaire, what they are asking in the class, that is also been defined properly. And that has been graded. Then recorder. Then what recorder will do, in every group, one recorder will be there. That recorder will be recording what my group is answering. Is they are mistaken somewhere? If they're mistaken somewhere, then recorder will be giving information, and then that recorder will be answering to the other delegates. So this way, there are 4 delegates in every group. So for everybody, the role was properly defined to them. Then schedule I had given. So presentation will be there for, so first I had introduced the pedagogy to them in the class, that what is to be done. 10 minutes I had given all the introduction. Then committee presentation, 40 minutes, 5 minutes per group. So that way, then cross questioning will be there for 20 minutes. Group challenges each other. Then with voting, 15 minutes, decide most impactful laser application, who had done the best one. First, I asked them to do that, and then I had marked them. Then reflection in 5 minutes. I had given my conclusion, and then I tried connecting them to the basics of the laser. And this was a graded activity for them. Previous activity was not graded, which I said. So every activity may not be graded, but some activities, if I'm keeping on grading, then the way of presentation or things might be different, because their achievement they'll be able to measure in terms of the grades. So this was a graded activity. Okay, so accordingly, I graded them. Then the key discussion. Yes, afterwards, when I taken the test for them, the laser concepts were crystal clear for everybody. Students perform very nicely in the exam. Which basic principle of laser enables your application, benefit and limitations of your application, impact on society. So they are able to connect their application with the societal things. Then technology or the future. Why is your application the most impactful? So all that things they discussed in their presentations. Then key discussion points, laser principle behind the application, all that things they need to incorporate in their presentation. Then the resolution statement. Every team is supposed to submit a resolution statement. Is the conceptual understanding, so like there are 8 groups, 1 group is presenting, rest of the group should give the resolution statement. Conceptual understanding is proper through the presentation. Application and innovation, are they able to explain that properly? Collaboration and participation, is the collaboration and participation proper? All the delegates are able to communicate in a healthy way. Communication and presentation was proper. Ethical and societal perspectives have been covered up in the presentation. All that resolution statements had been given by rest of the groups for every group. So that way everybody was engaged in the class. This activity I had taken for 18 marks. So how the marks distribution I had done for that 18 marks. So conceptual understanding 5 marks. Application and innovation I had given 5 marks. Collaboration and participation I had given 5 marks. Communication and presentation 5 marks. And the last thing which has not been shown over here, it is probably not visible properly, but last 1 mark I had given for the question they were asking, that how the engagement was there in the class. So based on that 1 mark was given. So overall, this second 2 activities I had taken up in my class. Now the question is that what achieved after this second pedagogy? After the second pedagogy, what I achieved is laser application impact, basics, and overall thing has been clear to the student. Everything is very clear to the student. So in summary of this pedagogy, I can say that fundamental laser principles with real world applications they are able to connect with. Enhanced conceptual understanding through discussion and presentation they had done with. Developed critical thinking and scientific communication skills, yes, they had done with. After that, strengthened teamwork because they had worked in a team, they achieved. Collaboration, they achieved. And the role-based learning, they achieved. Achieved course objectives, yes, my courses also got covered. जो मुझे 2 घंटे में करना था, that I am able to cover up in 1 hour, and the things are clear to the students. My objectives also got achieved. So achieved course objective by integrating theory with practical and social and societal impact. So I achieved the objective of my course. So as a conclusion, if we are working on the pedagogies, then really whatever NEP is asking us to do, we can achieve that in an actual way. There are multiple things in the NEP, but how I am taking this activity in my class, that is my ICA components are. Because I cannot have a control over to change overall system of the university to conduct the final exam, because that final exam question paper is same for all the colleges. So probably in every colleges, the way of teaching or application based teaching is not there, then student might be failing. So the question paper pattern is our conventional for the final exam. But as a teacher, we have a control over the ICA. As per NEP, lots of weightage had been given for the ICA. At my university place, the ICA component weightage is 40% and 60 is the final exam. So that 40% is there in our hand, on which at least we can play with the pedagogy to make the student understand, to make the student involved, to make the student society oriented, and that way we can do. That is there always in my hand. So as a conclusion, what 2 pedagogies I said, the gamification and context-based learning. The second part is context-based learning. Make student active participants rather than passive listeners. Gamification increases engagement, motivation, joyful learning, while CBL strengthens real-world conceptual understanding. Both pedagogies develop critical thinking, collaboration, and problem-solving skills essential for modern education. These approaches reflect a sense of ancient Gurukul Parampara, which emphasized experimental, contextual, and value-based learning. So all that things also we achieved. Blending innovative pedagogy with Gurukul wisdom creates a holistic, student-centric system that prepare learners for lifelong learning and real challenges. If I'll say we should use such kind of pedagogical changes, then I had given this presentation to other colleges also. So there are general question is from where we should bring the time for doing these things. We are involved in the administrative work. We are involved in this. We are involved in that. But really, I'm telling this activities when you will be planning, because again, with the digital era, with the AI tools and plenty of resources are available for preparation of lecture, we can minimize the time. Because now the things are very easily available on tip of our fingers. So we have that resources with us. So now that previously what time we were spending on searching the resources for a course, now we should spend the time on developing the pedagogy for delivering our content. So that could bring a really a holistic change in the students and probably the NEP objectives we can achieve. Recently, I published one book on innovative pedagogy in STEM education. So in this book, I had suggested 13 pedagogies. Sorry, I'm putting this on this platform, but in January only this book got published. So in this book, I suggested 13 pedagogies. Okay, and in every pedagogy, I had given 3 case studies. One will again that is on STEM subject. So one is one case study I had given for physics, one I had given for chemistry, and one I had given for the mathematics. So that way, on all 3 subjects, for I had given one case study for each pedagogy. That way, in this book, the way I explained here, in the same way that has been explained in the book also. So 13 pedagogies had been suggested in this book. So thank you for patiently listening. I'm open for the questions now.
Ma'am, we can also consider like role playing or ideation as one of the pedagogy.
Yes, we can, ma'am. We can, because students love to doing that. They love their if some role has been assigned to them, because we are making them responsible for that particular thing. We can.
So that way their engagement is more as well.
Yes, that way their engagement will be more. Because once we are making them accountable, then definitely they will work harder for them. But in general, in our conventional teaching, we are making accountable to ourselves that I want to teach that.
Right.
And I want to make student understand. But
Right.
yeah.
No, please continue.
Yeah, I want to make them understand. I want to teach them properly. But my concern is not on that, I mean, somehow we are trying that, we are asking them questions, we are conducting some quizzes for them. So with that, really we are trying efforts, whether they had learned it or not. But how much affectionately or passionately they had listened, or how much, I mean, just apply level pe पहुंचे नहीं पहुंचे, we are really, we cannot measure them in that way. So if we make them responsible, we make them measurable to themselves, then probably they will understand the things in a better way. This is my observation.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Participants, do you have any other question? Ma'am, again, one more question, like not all subjects, like we can't have all subjects to go with such kind of pedagogies. If any subject is very much theoretical, or if any subject is very much mathematical.
No, ma'am, this is not the case. That's why I had taken the example of quantum physics. That is, ma'am, purely a theoretical subject. That is very purely a theoretical subject. So really, when I used to teach, I'm teaching that subject, I think 5 to 6 times in my class. And that was purely a theoretical subject. So teaching, initially when I started teaching, students were literally sleeping, because make them understand that what quantum physics is, make them visualize what quantum physics is, really that was very difficult even for me. So then I got so frustrated, yeah, why students are not listening. Then I recollected when we studied that in MSc or a BSc, at that time also, we were not motivated to study that. Just that is there been defined in my syllabus, that's why I'm listening that. Where I'm going to use it, nobody defined me in that way. So whatever lakana I got, or whatever things which I felt that this is to be given to the students. So accordingly, I brought that changes in my pedagogy. And really that impacted a lot. That was really a theoretical subject. So in theoretical subjects also, yes, but we need to work on that, how we need to plan the activity based on that. And really, if I need to cover up that in 30 hours, if proper pedagogy has been chosen, if proper activity has been planned, I'll be able to complete my syllabus in 25 hours. Yes, that is there. And I had used that. That's why very confidently I'll be able to say it.
So you mean to say that these activities are also getting counted into the number of hours, teaching hours?
Yes, because see, if like two activities I had taken, by the second activity, whatever I need to teach in 3 hours class, that I completed in 1 hour in the classroom, and half hour which I posted the things on the their digital platforms, that this way you need to be done. I need to send them certain materials to them. Then they used to come to me for the discussion. But in the classroom, actual classroom, whatever I need to cover up in 3 hours, I completed that in 1.5 hours. So really, I saved time.
Right, ma'am. In our syllabus also, we have something called as capstone project. So I guess
Yeah,
these activities can be taken under that also, if at all
yes.
needed.
Yeah, in the capstone project, definitely you are doing project-based learning. So with the project, you are trying to teach to the students.
So the project need not to be like implemented, like for an
Yeah.
engineering student, but we can
Okay.
also have something as case study, something which the student can explore and present in
Yeah.
front of the teacher, right?
But then again, if they are finding the problems by themselves and they are able to connect them with the real world problem, then probably they may have more interest. And that's just not for scoring for the exam, like capstone mein itna marks mil jayega, that's why I'm doing it. Instead, if we'll be able to create the interest to them. In my college, we are having one more practice. The faculties are supposed to choose the project topics from industry based issues, and then faculty is collecting that problems, and then they are giving that problem as a capstone project to the students. So that way they are giving solution to the societies. Even we are doing some solutions for the NGOs also. So NGOs are also giving some problem to our students that are actually the real problems. So like just as an example, just as a sharing, I'm telling you people, one NGO that is working on this abharanya kind of thing. So कितने टाइगर्स हैं और ऐसा ऐसे करके उनका कुछ था. So unko, they are interested in developing a AI based system. So with that, they are supposed to count the number of animals or that kind of thing. That kind of data analysis they need to use. They need to do. So that kind of problem, our faculties are taken from them, and that they get it done from the student. So real world mein what data, what things they can, which kind of solution they can give to the society. That also they learned. They went to the NGO, they have a word with them, they discuss with them, and with that they had generated a solution. So that way, capstone
Right.
project
It's
also.
really interesting, like the kind of maybe they have worked on geotagging kind of thing.
Yeah, geotagging they had done.
Right.
Even one small app they had developed, that is a mobile app. So my place, my workplace is a 8-floor institute. There are multiple rooms on each floor. So like if a student is coming new and which class is going, like floor number is available, they are aware of. 4th floor mein class hai, but that classroom is at which place? So they are not aware of. The student developed one app for that. So that is again a solution. So that kind of app they can use somewhere else also. Like it is same like when we are going to the malls and there one screen had been kept and we are here and where we want to go. So that thing we are searching. So same kind of app they can develop for their own use. So that also students are doing.
Right, ma'am. It's really very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ankit sir?
Thank you.
Yeah. Ankit sir, are you there? In the meanwhile, participants, do you have any other questions? Please go ahead. We can take 1 or 2 questions.
Sorry, actually, I had taken extra time. It's already 4:40.
No, ma'am, your time is still 5, but still it's, and the presentation was very much aligned. I'm just waiting for Ankit sir to take over.
Okay.
Okay, it seems that Ankit sir is busy somewhere else. So I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of SGBAU and Ramravati Institute of Technology to give my sincere thanks and deep gratitude to Madam RT Head of Ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much. Your pedagogical discussion was really very interesting and very thought-provoking. On behalf of both the institutions, the organizing team, the management, I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you for sparing your time. And we would like to hear more such sessions from you, ma'am, whenever time permits. So on behalf of all the participants also, I extend my warm welcome. And with your kind permission, if you say, then we can conclude the session, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, dear participants, we are done for the day and today's session is concluded. So just a reminder to give the quiz which is being floated in the group to finish it by today, that is 10 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.